Okay students, today we are going to learn about antimicrobial drugs. Before that, we will learn about various terminologies which are used in the study of antimicrobial. The first terminology is a chemotherapy. We are always under impression of those drugs which are used for treatment of cancer, which are called as a chemotherapeutic agent. Not necessarily all the drugs which are used for treatment of the cancer are termed as chemotherapy. If you split this word as a chemotherapy, chemo means chemical and therapy means it is used for treatment of the disease. So any chemical which is used for treatment of disease will be termed as a chemotherapeutic agent. So it is a use of a chemical drug to treat disease is termed as a chemotherapy. And a drug which is used for that will be termed as a chemotherapeutic agent. Another terminology is antimicrobial drug. Antimicrobial drugs are the chemotherapeutic agent which interfere with the growth of the microorganisms which are present within the host tissues. So in a layman language we can say that these are the drugs used to treat various microbial infections. Another term is antibiotic. Antibiotic is a type of antimicrobial and therefore it belongs to the class of chemotherapeutic agent. But the difference between other antimicrobial and antibiotic is that antibiotics are derived from the microorganism. In a very low concentration, they are able to kill other microorganisms. So any substance which is produced by the microbe that in small amount inhibits another microbe is termed as an antibiotic. Now when we talk about antimicrobials are the drugs which are going to cause a harm to the microorganisms. And there is a possibility that when they are causing a harm to the microbial cell, they may damage the host cell. So the required parameter in developing of the antimicrobial drug is that they should cause a maximum damage to the microorganism with minimum damage to the host tissue cells. And therefore this selective toxicity becomes a important parameter in developing antimicrobial drugs. Now when we talk about classification of the antimicrobials can be classified on the basis of the various parameters. The first class is on the depending upon their chemical structure, so that's a chemical classification of antimicrobial. The second, from where they are derived, so source of the antimicrobial. The third is against which microorganism they are active, so that becomes a spectrum. That means whether they are active against all type of the bacteria, gram positive, gram negative, or they are active only against a selective type of bacteria, only against gram positive or only against gram negative. Like penicillin is effective only against gram positive, whereas streptomycin is effective only against gram negative. So here spectrum is narrow, whereas when you look at tetracycline, it is effective against gram positive, gram negative, and chlamydial infection and so on. So it has a broad spectrum. At the same time, acyclovir, which is not effective against the bacterial infection but is only effective against viral, and in that too also DNA viral. So you can see that these are the various antimicrobial agents where the spectrum they are covering of the microorganism is differing, and according to that also the classification can be done. Another classification can be on the basis of the mode of the action, whether antimicrobial agent is going to inhibit the growth of the microorganism or it is going to kill microorganism. So depending upon what is going to be the mode of action, you can classify antimicrobial agent. Another is a type of microbial infection. Now there are many types of the microbes which are known to us are bacteria, fungi, viral infections. So if your drug is effective against the viral infection, it will be termed as antiviral. If effective against bacteria, antibacterial, fungal, antifungal, and so on. So according to that, which type of a microorganism is getting targeted by your drug, they can be classified. And the last but very important type of the classification is on the basis of their mechanism of action. What is the mechanism involved in causing damage to the microbes, microbial infections which are present in the host body? There can be different n number of the mechanisms by which the molecule or a drug entity or a chemical or antibiotic can cause a damage to the microorganism. So depending upon that mechanism also we can classify. For example, penicillin, it inhibits the cell wall synthesis. If you take tetracycline, it inhibits the protein synthesis within the bacteria. So there are different modes of action and the classes of the drugs can be done according to it. Let us understand the first class. which is a class done on the basis of the molecular structure. In that, the first class is a beta-lactam antibiotics because they have a beta-lactam ring in their structure. So penicillin type of antibiotic or a cephalosporin antibiotic or derivatives of the penicillin will fall under this category. Then the second important is quinolones, validixic acid, ciprofloxacin, ofloxacin, gatifloxacin, such type of the drugs. Aminoglycoside antibiotics, streptomycin, gentamicin, amikacin, macrolide antibiotics, erythromycin, azithromycin, and so on. Tetracycline derivatives, doxycycline, minocycline, sulfonamide derivatives, sulfathiazine, which I have mentioned here as an example, glycopeptides, vancomycin type of the antibiotic, and which cannot be put into a specific category, will come under the other categories, including clindamycin, which is antibiotic, or metronidazole like chemotherapeutic agent, or the chemical which is used for treatment of various microbial infection, especially anaerobic type of the microbial infections. Now the second classification is on the basis of the source of the antimicrobial drug. The sources of the antimicrobial drug can be either they can be derived from bacteria, they can be derived from fungi, they can be derived from actinomycetes. So if they are derived from the gram-positive rod, here the example is mentioned of the Bacillus subtilis, which is bacitracin is derived, Bacillus polymyxa, from which polymyxin antibiotic is derived. We can also use fungal source, a very famous antibiotic penicillin, which is obtained from Penicillium notatum, cephalothene, which is obtained from the Cephalosporium. Then even actinomycetes are used as a source of antibiotics, like Streptomyces venezuela, from which chloramphenicol is derived, or Streptomyces griseus, from which streptomycin is derived, Streptomyces nodosus, from where amphotericin B, which is antifungal antibiotic, which is derived, Micromonospora purpurea, from which aminoglycoside antibiotic like gentamicin is derived. So there are majorly known are the three sources from gram-positive rods, from fungi, and from the actinomycetes. So here is a table which will give you an idea about that what are the different sources of the antibiotics. Here I mentioned about gram-positive rods. You can derive which type of the antibiotic. You can see actinomycetes are forming a major source of the antibiotic, from which amphotericin, chloramphenicol, erythromycin, neomycin, streptomycin, gentamicin are derived. Even the fungi are acting as a source, where cephalothene, griseofulvine, penicillin are also derived. So these are the various sources on the basis of which antibiotics can be classified. Then the next type of the classification is a spectrum of the antimicrobial activity. Is your antibiotic or antimicrobial agent covering how many types of the microbial infection? It is effective if it is effective against many different types of the bacteria, say for that matter a tetracycline, which is effective against gram-positive, gram-negative, and it is also effective against the chlamydial infection. So it falls under the category of the broad spectrum antibiotic. The second class is a narrow spectrum antibiotic, where they are acting selectively only on a specific type of the bacteria, like streptomycin, which is effective only against the gram-negative bacteria, or isoniazid type of the chemical, which are effective only against the mycobacterial infection, or bacteria which are containing mycolic acid in their cell wall. So that makes the drug more specific in its activity, and its spectrum reduces, and they fall under the category of the narrow spectrum antibiotics. Now we can also classify the drug on the basis of the mode of action. Like if your drug is killing the target organism, microorganism, then it will be termed as a bactericidal drug. So there are many categories of the bactericidal drug, like there are aminoglycoside, there are cephalosporin, penicillin, quinolones are there. If your drug is only inhibiting the multiplication of the bacteria, it will fall under the category of the bacteriostatic. It will either inhibit the replication process so that bacteria will not be able to multiply, and the spread of the infection in the body can be prevented. Many antibiotics fall under the category of the bacteriostatic, like tetracycline. Not only antibiotic, but there are many chemotherapeutic agents also, like sulfonamides are there, which also at low concentration will work as a bacteriostatic. And there is some third category of the drugs or the antibiotics, which can be both the bacteriostatic as well as the bactericidal. Depending upon the various factors like dose at which they are given, what is going to be the duration of the exposure, and what is going to be the state of the invading bacteria. For example, aminoglycosides are there, fluoroquinolones are there, metronidazole type of the drugs are there, which exert the effect, their killing effect of the microorganism is concentration dependent. So maybe at low concentration they are only inhibiting the multiplication of the bacteria, and at a higher concentration they are killing the targeted microorganism. So at low concentration they are producing a bacteriostatic effect, and at a higher concentration they produce bactericidal effect. So this is a table which gives an idea about which drugs fall under which category, which drugs are falling under acidyl category, which drugs are falling under the bacteriostatic category. Usually the drugs which hampers the integrity of the cell and kill the bacteria fall under the acidyl, whereas those drugs which are inhibiting the multiplication of the bacteria by inhibiting the protein synthesis or interfering with the DNA replication, they usually fall under the category of the static. Again, there are some governing factors also. So this is a table which gives us an idea about exact idea about what do you mean by a spectrum of the activity. Like here on the left hand side you can see there is a penicillin, streptomycin and tetracycline and isoniazid. So if you compare this drug, you can see penicillin is the narrow spectrum activity antibiotic, active only against gram positive, whereas streptomycin effective against both mycobacteria and a gram negative infection. Again, when we come to tetracycline, we see that gram negative, gram positive, chlamydial and rickettsial infections are also covered, so it becomes a broad spectrum. And when we move on to isoniazid, we see they are not effective against gram positive, gram negative, selectively effective only against the mycobacterial, that to mycobacterial tubercular infection. So they are very narrow spectrum type of a chemotherapeutic agent. On the right hand side, when you see that there are certain drugs which are only effective against the eukaryotic cell, they are not effective against the prokaryotic cell. Now, which are the eukaryotic infection like fungal infection, protozoal infection or helminthic infection? So these drugs are also very specifically acting only a type of a eukaryotic cell, like ketoconazole acting only against fungal, mefloquine acting only against the malarian parasite, and niclosamide type of the drug acting only against the tapeworm, and praziquantel acting only against the fluke infection. So these drugs will not be of any use if there is any prokaryotic infection. They can be used only that to selective eukaryotic infection. And then we are seeing a third class where the drugs are used only for viral infection. They will not be useful for bacterial or any other eukaryotic infection. They will act only against the viral infection, and that too in viral also, acyclovir, which is mentioned in the table, will act only against the DNA viral infection, whereas RNA viral, retroviral, there will be some other drugs selectively acting against them are required to be used. So this makes very clear about what do you mean by a spectrum of the activity. Now the classification can be done on the basis of the type of microorganism which is targeted. If you are targeting bacteria, they are prokaryotic cell. Our cells are not prokaryotic. So if any chemical is damaging the prokaryotic cell, it has a comparatively less severe side effects or the toxic effects. They are easy to develop and are associated with comparatively low toxicity. The examples which are mentioned here are sulfa drugs and penicillin. When we talk about anthelmintic, antiprotozoal or antifungal drugs, then these are the microorganisms which have a eukaryotic. And even the host cell has a human cell is also eukaryotic. So when these drugs are going to kill eukaryotic cell, they are going to produce certain serious side effects even across the human body. So they are difficult to develop. And they are even associated, even if they are developed, they are going to be associated with the serious toxic effects. There are amphotericin B, which is an antifungal drug and is known for its nephrotoxicity. Then as a pharmacist, it is a challenge that how we can develop the formulation to minimize that toxicity. Same way the antivirals which lie at the margin of the living and non-living, they utilize our DNA for their replication. So when they're utilizing our DNA for replication, it becomes difficult to develop a target for a drug. So development of the antiviral is the most difficult situation, or it's the most difficult to develop, because they are utilizing our own host cell enzymes and entire machinery of the cell for their survival, for their multiplication. Here are given the example of a zidovudine, which is used against the treatment of HIV infection, or cyclovir, which is used for treatment of the DNA viral infection. You will find that there are very less number of the antiviral drugs, and even if they are there, the degree of the potency or effective efficacy rather than will be comparatively less at what time you are administering the drug, at what are you giving it immediately after the entry of the virus, or after they have started showing the incubation period after which they have started showing the symptoms. By that time the viral infection has already replicated and spread into the body. The efficacy will vary of the antiviral drug, and that's the reason why they are very difficult to develop. Last but very important type of a classification which we are going to discuss now is a mechanism of antimicrobial action. Antimicrobials can work via different modes of or mechanisms of action. One of the target can be a cell wall, so there can be a antibiotics or antimicrobial inhibiting cell wall synthesis. Another important target is a proteins, enzymes which are required for the survival, so we can inhibit protein synthesis by developing such antimicrobial drug. Another important is for the spread of the infection, the bacteria or microorganism has to multiply, has to replicate. So we can hamper DNA replication of microorganism. We can inhibit RNA synthesis of the microbe, which is required for protein synthesis and for their completion of the structural component. Or else we can target certain essential metabolites which are required by the microorganism for their survival. So on basis of these different mechanisms, we can classify the drugs. Let us start with the first class under this category, which in this diagram, to make it more simpler to understand, we can see first is a inhibition of the cell wall. Now the cell wall, if the deficient forms of the bacteria are formed, then in that case they will imbibe the surrounding solution or water from the surrounding, and they will swell and they will burst, and that will lead to the death of the bacteria. Penicillin, cephalosporin type of the antibiotic, vancomycin, bacitracin, they all work by this mechanism. The second is, can we inhibit a translation mechanism? Can we inhibit the synthesis of the proteins which are required for the bacteria when it is undergoing multiplication? Yes, it is possible. If we study all the steps which are involved in the translation ribosome, or a reading of the codon of the mRNA, transfer of the amino acid in the elongation process of the peptide chain, are various processes or the steps which are involved in protein synthesis which can be inhibited, and if they are inhibited, protein synthesis of the bacteria or a microorganism can be hampered, and a survival of then that bacteria becomes difficult. The multiplication of the bacteria can become difficult. So second, we can inhibit this translational process or for synthesis of the protein via various modes. And the drugs which are acting by this mechanism include chloramphenicol, erythromycin, tetracycline, and streptomycin. The third target can be a DNA. If we don't allow or we interfere with a process of the replication of the DNA, either by competing with nucleotides or by forming intercalation or a breach across the DNA strand, so we are ultimately inhibiting the process of the replication, transcription process. And the drugs which work by this mechanism include rifampicin and quinolones. And the fourth which is possible is that rather than causing a damage to the cell wall, if your drug is able to create a damage to the plasma membrane, that will create pores across the membrane, and because of which the essential constituents of the cell will leak out, and integrity of the cell will be lost, and the cell will be dead. Polymyxin B type of the antibiotics work by this mechanism. And the last but very important is that if we develop drugs which have a structural similarity with certain chemicals which are used by the microorganism for synthesis of their metabolites, so that they can act as a false precursor, and the inactive metabolites will be formed which cannot be used by the microorganism, and the survival will be a question for that microorganism. A very important class of that drug or an example of such type of the drugs which work by this mechanism are sulfonamides. which have a structural similarity with PABA and interfere with the folic acid synthesis, which is required by the bacteria for purine and pyrimidine synthesis. So this gives us a clear idea about how the drugs can be classified on the basis of their mechanism of action. The first class which we have discussed is inhibition of the cell wall synthesis. The examples which are included in this class are penicillin, cephalosporin, vancomycin, and various derivatives of the penicillin will fall. The second class, injury to the plasma membrane, as I already mentioned, polymyxin B, we have seen in the diagram, there is a damage to the plasma membrane that creates pores, and because of which the essential metabolites and the cell content may be lost and the cell lysis may take place. And the example which is falling under this category is polypeptide antibiotic like polymyxin, at the same time miconazole type of the antifungal drugs. We can have specifically acting drugs which are interfering with the synthesis of a specific component which is required for completion of the cell wall synthesis. Like in Mycobacteria tuberculosis, mycolic acid is an essential component of the cell wall. And isoniazid is interfering with the inhibiting the synthesis of the mycolic acid, which is required by the bacteria to complete its cell wall formation. And isoniazid therefore can rapidly act on the those mycobacteria which are rapidly dividing, because there the rate of the synthesis of the mycolic acid will be faster, because more and more newer cell walls for the newer daughter mycobacteria will be required to be synthesized, whereas those which are multiplying slowly, there it may not produce a serial effect, it might produce a bacteriostatic effect. Then the very important category which is inhibition of the protein synthesis. I told you that there are various targets to inhibit the protein synthesis, and one of the important target is a ribosome. In prokaryotic cell, we can inhibit 30S ribosomal subunit by aminoglycosides tetracycline, 50S ribosomal subunit by macrolide antibiotic like erythromycin, chloramphenicol, lincosamide, or linezolid type of the drugs. Or we can also interfere in prokaryotic 70S ribosomal subunit or causing misreading of the mRNA like streptomycin or aminoglycoside antibiotics do. Even there is another mode of action that we can, there are certain drugs which cause premature termination of the peptide chain, that don't allow the peptide chain to grow to its full length. So non-functional proteins are formed which cannot be used by the bacteria for their multiplication. Example of such drug is aminonucleoside antibiotic like puromycin. Now puromycin has a part of the molecular structure which resembles to the third end of the amino acylated tRNA, transfer RNA. But it differs from the tRNA insofar as the amino acyl residue is linked to the ribosome via amide bond rather than the ester bond. Whereas puromycin, like amino acyl tRNA, binds to the A site of the ribosome, peptidyl transferase center, and when this A site is occupied by the puromycin, the peptidyl transferase links the peptide residue of the peptidyl tRNA in the ribosomal P site covalently to the puromycin. Now, since the amide bond cannot be cleaved by the ribosome and no further peptide transfer can take place, and the peptidyl puromycin complex which is formed, it falls off from the ribosome, there is a premature termination of the peptide chain. Now there is another pathway that you can inhibit the nucleic acid synthesis, both RNA as well as the DNA quinolones, DNA gyrase inhibitors interfering with the the DNA replication process. Metronidazole, in the body, its metabolic byproduct can cause a disruption of the DNA. So here quinolones are antibiotic, metronidazole is a chemotherapeutic. Both antibiotic and chemotherapeutic are able to interfere with the synthesis of the DNA or replication of the DNA. There are certain drugs like chloroquine, antiviral drugs, which also interfere with the DNA of the replication. There are some chemotherapeutic agent like anti-cancer drug like alkylating agent, which can directly act across the DNA strand, can form a bridge across the two strands of the DNA, will prevent intertwining of the DNA strand on each other. Not only they do that, but they also cause alkylation of guanosine or the important vital nucleosides, and that interferes with the formation of a complete DNA, and replication of the DNA gets halted, and that interferes or incomplete DNA replication take place, so prevents the multiplication of the cells in case of the cancer. So there are drugs which are interfering with the DNA replication of both the microorganism as well as the host cell, which are interfering with host cell, can be used as anti-cancer drugs. RNA synthesis can be inhibited. There is a one antibiotic called rifampin, which is a bactericidal, and it inhibits the RNA transcription by inhibiting DNA-dependent RNA polymerase enzyme. Inhibition of the last mechanism is inhibition of the synthesis of essential metabolites. This is usually a competitive inhibition because your drug has a structural similarity with precursor or the metabolite. So they closely resemble to the substrate of enzyme, and sulfa drug for that matter, they inhibit the folic acid because folic acid is synthesized by the bacteria from PABA, that is para-aminobenzoic acid. Sulfonamide have a structural similarity with PABA and therefore can compete with PABA for folate synthesis. And instead of PABA getting incorporated, it is a sulfonamide which is getting incorporated, and that is resulting in the false or a wrong formation of the folic acid, which cannot be used by the bacteria for synthesis of purine and pyrimidines, and multiplication of the bacteria can be stopped. Even pyrimethamine type of a drug also works by the similar mechanism. Sulfones work by the same mechanism. So here we finish with our classification of antimicrobials. Thank you.